Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 3, the Status Quo. Chapter 2, Text 30. Prayukatan Bojha Rajena Mayina Kamarupina Lilaya Vyana Dutamstan Balakridhana Kanniva. The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the king of Bhoja, Kamsa, to kill Kṛṣṇa. But in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. Purport. The atheist Kamsa wanted to kill Kṛṣṇa just after his birth. He failed to do so, but later on got information that Kṛṣṇa was living in Vrindavan at the house of Nanda Maharaj. He therefore engaged many wizards who could perform wonderful acts and assume any form they liked. All of them appeared before the child Lord in various forms like Agha, Baka, Putana, Shakata, Trinavarta, Denuka, and Gardhaba, and they tried to kill the Lord at every opportunity. But one after another, all of them were killed by the Lord as if he were playing with dolls. Children play with toy lions, elephants, boars, and many similar dolls, which are broken by the child in the course of their playing with them. Before the Almighty Lord, any powerful living being is just like a toy lion in the hands of a playing doll, in the hands of a playing child. No one can excel God in any capacity, and therefore no one can be equal to or greater than him. Nor can anyone attain the stage of equality with God by any kind of endeavor. Jnana and Yoga and Bhakti are three recognized processes of spiritual realization. The perfection of such processes can lead one to their desired goal of life in spiritual value, but that does not mean that one can attain a perfection equal to the Lord's by such endeavors. The Lord is the Lord at every stage. When he was playing just like a child on the lap of his mother Yashoda Mai, or just like a cowherd boy with his transcendental friends, he continued to remain God without the slightest diminution of his 6 opulences. Thus he is always unrivaled. Text 31. Vipanan vishapanena nigrihya bhujagadipam utapya paya yadgavas tatoyam prakritistitam. The inhabitants of Vrindavan were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of the Yamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kaliya. The Lord chastised the snake king within the water and drove him away. And after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that the water was again in its natural state. Text 32. Ayajayad Gosavena Goparajam Dvijotamai Vitasya Churu Bharasya Shakirshan Sadvyayam Vibhu. The Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaj Nanda for worship of the cows, and also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus he advised his father to perform worship of Go, or the pasturing land and the cows, with the help of learned brahmanas. Purport. Since he is the teacher of everyone, the Lord also taught his father, Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj was a well-to-do landholder and the owner of many cows. And as was the custom, he used to perform the yearly worship of Indra, the king of heaven, with great opulence. This worship of demigods by the general populace is also advised in the Vedic literature, just so people can accept the superior power of the Lord. The demigods are servants of the Lord, deputed to look after the management of various activities of universal affairs. Therefore, it is advised in the Vedic scriptures that one should perform yagyas to appease the demigods. But one who is devoted to the Supreme Lord has no need to appease the demigods. Worship of the demigods by common people is an arrangement for acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, but it is not necessary. Such appeasement is generally recommended for material gains only. As we have already discussed in the second canto of this literature, one who admits the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to worship the secondary demigods. Sometimes being worshipped and adored by less intelligent living beings, the demigods become puffed up with power and forget the supremacy of the Lord. This happened when Lord Kṛṣṇa was present in the universe, and thus the Lord wanted to give a lesson to the king of heaven, Indra. He therefore asked Maharaj Nanda to stop the sacrifice offered to Indra and to use the money properly by performing a ceremony worshiping the cows in the pasturing ground on the hill of Govardhan. By this act, Lord Kṛṣṇa taught human society, as he has instructed in the Bhagavad Gita also, that one should worship the Supreme Lord by all acts and by all their results. That will bring about the desired success. The Vaishyas are specifically advised to give protection to the cows and their pasturing ground or agricultural land, instead of squandering their hard-earned money. And that will satisfy the Lord. The perfection of one's occupational duty, whether in the sphere of duty to oneself, one's community, or one's nation, is judged by the degree to which the Lord is satisfied. Text 33. Varshatindre vrajakopad Bhagnamane tivifala Gotralita lata patrena Trato badranu grihnata. O sober Vidura, King Indra, his honor having been insulted, poured water incessantly on Vrindavan, and thus the inhabitants of Vraja, the land of cows, were greatly distressed. But the compassionate Lord Kṛṣṇa saved them from danger with his pastime, umbrella, the Govardhan hill. Text 34. Sarachchasi karar mrishtam Manayan Rajani Mukam Gayan Kala Padam Reme Srinam Mandala Mandana. In the third season of the year, the Lord enjoyed as the central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with his pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. Purport. Before leaving the land of cows, Vrindavan, the Lord pleased his young girlfriends, the transcendental gopis, in his Rasa Leela pastimes. Here, Uddhava stopped his description of the Lord's activities. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, second chapter, of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Remembrance of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Chapter 3, the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. Text 1. Uddhava uvacha tatasa agatya puram svapitros Chikirshaya sambaladeva samyuta Nipatya tungaripu yutanatam Atam vyakarashad vyasum ojasurvyam. Sri Uddhava said, therefore Lord Kṛṣṇa went to Mathura city with Sri Baladev, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. Purport. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes are vividly and elaborately described. In the 10th canto, the Lord proved to be a worthy son of his parents even at the age of 16 years. Both brothers, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Baladev, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudeva and Devaki never thought that Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, or Baladev, would be able to kill such a great and strong enemy. When the two brothers attacked Kamsa on the throne, their parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get the opportunity to kill their sons, whom they had hidden for so long in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The parents of the Lord, due to parental affection, felt extreme danger, and they almost fainted. Just to convince them that they had actually killed Kamsa, Kṛṣṇa and Baladev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them. Text 2. Sandipane sakrit proktam brahmadhityasva vistaram tasmai pradadvaram putram mritam pancha janodarat. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. Purport. No one but the Supreme Lord can be well versed in all the branches of Vedic wisdom simply by hearing once from his teacher. Nor can anyone bring a dead body back to life after the soul has already gone to the region of Yamaraj. But Lord Kṛṣṇa ventured to the planet of Yamaloka and found the dead son of his teacher and brought him back to his father as a reward for the instructions received. The Lord is constitutionally well versed in all the Vedas, and yet to teach by example that everyone must go to learn the Vedas from an authorized teacher and must satisfy the teacher by service and reward, he himself adopted the system. The Lord offered his services to his teacher, Sandipani Muni, and the Muni, knowing the power of the Lord, asked something which was impossible to be done by anyone else. The teacher asked that his beloved son who had died be brought back to him, and the Lord fulfilled that request. The Lord is not, therefore, an ingrate to anyone who renders him some sort of service. The devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. Text 3. Samahuta Bhishmaka Kanhayaye Shriyas Saranena Bubushaisham Gandharva Vritya Mishatam Svabhagam Jare Padam Murdini Dadhat Suparna. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, and the many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Kṛṣṇa, stepping over all the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. Purport. Princess Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, was actually as attractive as fortune itself, because she was as valuable as gold, both in color and in value. Since the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the property of the Supreme Lord, Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Kṛṣṇa, but Sishupal was elected as her bridegroom by Rukmini's elder brother, although King Bhishmaka wanted his daughter to be married to Kṛṣṇa. Rukmini invited Kṛṣṇa to take her away from the clutches of Sishupal. So when the bridegroom Sishupal came there with his party, with the desire to marry Rukmini, Kṛṣṇa all of a sudden swept her from the scene, stepping over the heads of all the princes there, just as Garuda carried away nectar from the hands of the demons. This incident will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. Text 4. Kakudmino vidha nasodamitva Svayamvare nagna jitim uvaha Tadbhagnamanan api gridhyato gyan Jagne kshata shastra brtasva shastrai. By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnijiti in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he himself was not hurt. Text 5. Priyam praburgramya eva priyaya vidhitsor archadjutarum yadharte Vajrayadravatam sagano rushanta Krida mrigo nunam ayam vadhunam. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, henpecked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him. Purport. The Lord once went to the heavenly planet to present an earring to Aditi, the mother of the demigods, and his wife Satyabhama also went with him. There is a special flowering tree called the parijata, which grows only in the heavenly planets. And Satyabhama wanted this tree. Just to please his wife like an ordinary husband, the Lord brought back the tree, and this enraged Vajri, or the controller of the thunderbolt. Indra's wives inspired him to run after the Lord to fight, and Indra, because he was a henpecked husband and also a fool, listened to them and dared to fight with Kṛṣṇa. He was a fool on this occasion because he forgot that everything belongs to the Lord. There was no fault on the part of the Lord, even though he took away the tree from the heavenly kingdom. But because Indra was henpecked, dominated by his beautiful wives like Sachi, he became a fool, just as all persons who are dominated by their wives are generally foolish. Indra thought that Kṛṣṇa was a henpecked husband who could only, by the will of his wife Satyabhama, Indra thought that Kṛṣṇa was a henpecked husband who only by the will of his wife Satyabhama took away the property of heaven, and therefore he thought that Kṛṣṇa could be punished. He forgot that the Lord is the proprietor of everything and cannot be henpecked. The Lord is fully independent, and by his will only, he can have hundreds and thousands of wives like Satyabhama. He was not therefore attached to Satyabhama because she was a beautiful wife, but he was pleased with her devotional service, and thus wanted to reciprocate the unalloyed devotion of his devotee. Thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 6 on Friday. Before we close, are there any questions or comments?
For the reading today.
What was that?
Thank you for the reading today.
Oh, sure. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrishringapali Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Yamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Jai Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Jai Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari 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 Bol. Dhanyavad Pranams.